Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. The Michael Cohen testimony has absolutely bombed. It has not gone well at all for the prosecution. I'm not sure that it matters. All right. Unfortunately, we live in a time and place in the United States of America where our institutions, particularly our institutions of law enforcement, are just corrupt, and we see this with these sham trials. It doesn't matter how you feel about Donald Trump. You're looking at a case in New York, this Alvin Bragg case, where literally they cannot come up with a crime, yet Donald Trump has to endure a trial. I mean, this makes no sense whatsoever. And I want to tell you, the people are starting to panic. Now, I hope to God that there's at least one juror, maybe even two, maybe I'm hoping there'll be more than one, frankly, on the jury that will come back in this particular case, this Stormy Daniels non-disclosure agreement case, a non-disclosure agreement, or hush money, even if you want to, if you want to sound negative. I'm hoping that one or two jurors, perhaps even more, will have the courage to just say on its face, this is absolutely insane. Stormy Daniels was a disaster as a witness. Michael Cohen was a disaster of a witness. I almost felt sorry for him because it seems to me like he went out of his way, even though he was being nasty to Trump, to kind of open the doors to say, I mean, the guy confessed to stealing money. We'll get to that in just a second. I mentioned it the other day, but it's absolutely insane. Today's show, by the way, is brought to you by Wealth Protection Research, and we'll get right into it. I've got some James Comey. Remember him, former FBI director? He's a little nervous. He's getting a little scared that Trump could get reelected. So we'll play some video for you and what he had to say while he was on a panel at MSNBC or on MSNBC. But these people are absolutely getting terrified of the prospect that Joe Biden could win. Not to mention, you look at the economy, you look at the polls. Now, listen, I don't like to brag about the polls. I don't like to go into, I don't want to overhype the polls, in other words, because the election are a long time away. I don't know what methodology has been used in any of these polls, but if you are at least externally looking at the polls and you're a Biden supporter, you're getting concerned. I'm not sure what his internal polls are saying, but if you're looking at the polls that we're just watching day to day, it doesn't look good for Joe Biden. All right, so we'll get to that, and we'll get to this James Comey, actually a couple, in just a sec. I'll talk to you about the 4 ways in which the Cohen testimony is absolutely bombed. We'll get to some of the latest news that is out there for you today. All right. So anyway, but today's show is brought to you by Wealth Protection Research. So at the heart of our very democracy lies a principle that we all hold sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish, allowing ideas to flourish, debates to ignite, and progress to be made. Without it, our pursuit of liberty, our ability to challenge, and our capacity to innovate would be severely constrained. And the left does not hate free speech, guys. That's why you should love it. Yet in today's digital age, the very platform that should democratize information is being used to narrow the spectrum of ideas we're exposed to. Important discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being systematically silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where Wealth Protection Research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silence in an era where dialogues about retirement, investments, and economic freedoms are increasingly censored. Wealth Protection Research is focused on ensuring that diverse, controversial, and revolutionary ideas have a platform. Oh, man, and I got some news to Biden pulled another whoop-de-doo yesterday that I want to talk to you about shortly. All right, so Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out the financial experts, the thought leaders, and the trailblazers who have been pushed to the margins by mainstream media and tech platforms like Facebook and Google. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, offering fresh, often contrarian perspectives on protecting and growing your wealth, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. By spotlighting these thinkers like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry, Wealth Protection Research is not just sharing financial advice, they are fostering a movement towards a more open, informed, and a free society. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 election wealth protection report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626. Plus, if you text the word ideas today to that number, 76626, you'll get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research that is sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. Wealth Protection Research. Okay, I want to get right to the nitty gritty. And then I'm going to give you the 4 points where this trial, and I've heard attorneys say it, you don't have to be an attorney to just watch this trial or some of the highlights of this trial. Obviously, the cameras aren't in the courtroom, but you can read plenty on the Stormy Daniels, if you will, non-disclosure agreement case against Trump. And it's all, I mean, it's absolutely all a farce. So I'm going to bring you 4 points that should cause the judge to throw this thing out before it even goes to a jury. But Judge Marchand is corrupt himself, in my opinion. And so that isn't going to happen. This is all about getting Trump. This is all about 2024 election. All of these guys are playing for notoriety. All of these guys are playing to make sure and hoping that Donald Trump will lose in November. Here's James Comer, former FBI director, not to be confused with James Comey. No, is he James Comey or oh, he is James Comey, former FBI director. I get him and James Comer confused, the Republican in Congress. But anyway, let's go ahead and roll this video. Por favor, Gabe.
If Donald Trump is reelected, I mean, when you think about a second Trump administration, what do you think the implications would be for the FBI?
Oh, serious, for the Justice Department and the FBI, because Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time. So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time, but people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American. This election matters. Because of a reason like that, people have to participate. You cannot sit on the sideline. I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden. You must vote.
All right, let's go ahead and play the next video as well, Gabe. Let's just go back to back, and I'm going to react to it. That's former FBI Director James Comey in a absolute panic. Why? Because what's been called the 4th branch of government. All right, guys, we only have 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. James Comey is sitting there talking as if the 4th branch of government, that does not exist under the Constitution, by the way, we should be concerned about Trump cutting it down to size. Honestly, if Trump did win and he didn't cut them down to size, he would be derelict in his duty and he would be completely worthless as a president, in my opinion. In fact, I would argue that he should have done more in his first term, but he was listening to a bunch of weak rhinos that I guess were telling him not to cut certain positions and so on, etc. The deep state is way too freaking big. These people are out of control. They are arresting pro-lifers, right? They're arresting Catholics. They're arresting grandmothers that went into the Capitol on J6, one grandmother that's serving time for literally walking into the Capitol, not getting involved in any other rioting, didn't even know that was going on, praying for her nation, and turning around and walking out. This is the DOJ. These people have started spying on Americans. Their missions, first and foremost, had been at least when it came to the FBI, to be more of, I believe, an investigative body as opposed to a counterintelligence body, kind of like the CIA. But now they have too much power. After 9/11, George W. Bush gave them too much power, and these fools are absolutely out of control. They did everything they needed to do with terrorism or terrorists within the country at the time. And now when their mission is basically like, I don't know what to do, we can't justify our pay. All right, let's turn our ammo towards towards Americans. And a lot of these fools are absolutely woke. They're cultural Marxists because they've been going. You see what's happening on these college campuses. They've been going to college, being brainwashed by the left, and then they get into these institutions of power, and the rest of us are in trouble. Let's go ahead and play this next video. Por favor, Gabe.
He is a threat to the rule of law in America. To me, that's what this election is about. Not about policy differences. It's about what kind of country are we going to be. If he has the ability, smarter than he was last time, to use the power of the Department of Justice and the FBI to target his enemies especially, the rule of law in America will change in a way we haven't seen in our lifetime.
When you say target his enemies, how would he do that?
Well, I think the first thing he would do is he would express it in his first term as a wish. I want people to go after so-and-so. I want people to go after Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI. In his second term, he would go a step further, I'm highly confident, and say, I want him criminally investigated. And he was close to the bottom of the barrel in his appointees last time. He'll be at the very bottom. And those are the people who carry out that order.
And they're there to protect him, not the Constitution or the rule of law. That'll be the first litmus test. Are you loyal to me? And everything flows from there. There is an assumption, Mr. Director, that if he is reelected, he can just make all of these cases go away, the federal cases around January 6th, election interference, around the classified documents as well. Is that your read of it? If he is, when he's sworn in, if he is next January, let's say, for another term, that it all goes away?
Yes. I mean, the person who would incite a mob to sack the Capitol will dismiss the cases that are pending against him.
So who is that? He puts somebody in place who just makes it go away as
Attorney General? Right, he puts an Attorney General in, or more likely puts an acting in, who then dismisses Jack Smith, and they drop the indictments. Simple as that.
All right, this guy is a complete and utter joke. This is a guy that is trying to save his behind. And by the way, remember, the left didn't like him either because they blamed him in part for Hillary losing in 2016 when he came out with that last minute announcement, basically, that Hillary Clinton had done some things, but they weren't going to pursue persecution. I don't even remember what the speech said. But basically, a lot of people found out that Hillary Clinton was dirty, as if they didn't already know. But he confirmed basically that she was, I think with her bleach bid and getting rid of all of the materials on her computer. But they said they're not going to do anything. So he wasn't going to do anything. No, he said no prosecutor will prosecute this guy. Just completely lying. Andrew McCabe, that ran the FBI, totally corrupted. And this is why these people are running scared, because they broke the law. They were misusing their power, or they were abusing their power, and they were not held accountable. Here's an article from Breitbart real quick that I want to mention. Report: Donald Trump eyes DOJ FBI purge upon re-election. For those of you that may not remember, I encourage you to go back and listen to them. We did podcasts with Kyle Seraphin. We did a podcast with, good Lord, I forget Steve's. Basically two FBI whistleblowers. Forgive me, Steve. Two FBI whistleblowers that said, yeah, the FBI could absolutely be brought down to size. Like they literally, a lot of, in many cases, fiddle their thumbs. They don't get the training that they need. Their mission is just totally ridiculous, totally a joke in many parts, or in many ways. I remember, man, I don't know why his name is blanking out on me, but one of them telling me that literally what the FBI could do is just kind of piggyback off of the local sheriff's department. They should have to work with local law enforcement, not have any weapons, and they would be much more effective in investigating federal crimes in that way, but in then ceding the power to local authorities. But here it is from Breitbart. Former President Trump will purge the administrative state by firing career bureaucrats from the DOJ and the FBI if he wins re-election. 9 people involved in the effort told Reuters. Trump repeatedly vowed to drain the administrative state, or the deep state as he termed it, upon returning to office. The term administrative state specifically describes the phenomena of unaccountable and unelected administrative agencies, including the national security apparatus, the exercising power to create and enforce their own rules. Guys, these people are supposed to work for us. They're not supposed to have the power to create their own rules. There are, again, only 3 branches of government. So James Comey is sitting there talking as if the 4th branch of government should not go interrupted. That is absolutely insane. That's how you build a police state. And I guarantee you, a lot of these officials like James Comey have dirt on politicians. And listen, I understand a lot of politicians are scandalous, but you, the people, should be the ones to be able to kick them out. Not the FBI, DOJ, CIA use it for their purposes. Use them for their purposes. The administrative state uses its rulemaking ability, Breitbart reports, or raw power to essentially usurp the separation of powers between the three branches of government by creating the so-called fourth branch, which is what I've already talked about. All right. So now let me give you, so they're looking at these cases, all of these sham cases. They're looking at the Cohen case, and the Cohen case is just, I mean, it's just an absolute disaster. You couldn't have a worse witness, but I don't know if it'll matter. Frankly, when the prosecution or when the defense closed yesterday or rested their case yesterday, I think I think the jury should have started deliberating right away. I almost believe, and actually I do believe it, that the judge is tainted. He wants the jury to be tainted, so he wants them to go out and think about this. He wants them to be a little afraid. He wants them to go out and hear what their family members have to say. That's why he's bringing them back next week to make a decision, and in my opinion. But here are the four things that just total disaster for the prosecution, with Cohen, Michael Cohen being their main witness. Cohen admitted that he had stole from the Trump organization. In 2017, he owed technology company Redfinch $50,000 for using algorithms to boost Trump's performance in a poll. This, according to Cohen. Cohen helped facilitate that transaction, asked for a $100,000 reimbursement, grossed up, quote unquote, to account for taxes from the Trump organization. However, on the stand, Cohen admitted that he stole from Trump, only paying $20,000. Remember, he asked him for $100,000 to Redfinch and pocketing $60,000 from the deal. So the $50,000 that you got back, this was the Trump's attorney asking Cohen, from Redfinch, you only paid Redfinch owner $20,000, right? Yes, sir, Cohen replied. The lawyer clarified that Cohen pocketed the $60,000. You did steal from the Trump organization upon the expected reimbursement from Redfinch. Blanche asked, yes, sir, Cohen replied. Just a disaster. And then the second thing, Cohen admits that he secretly recorded his boss on the tape, appearing to undermine the case. So they played this video or this audio tape of Donald Trump, who absolutely seemed clueless about the NDA agreement and payment to Stormy Daniels. As a matter of fact, what Cohen said was that he was trying to get Trump on tape to prove to the guy from the National Enquirer, what is his name? Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm looking for his name. But basically to prove to the guy from the National Enquirer that in fact Trump would be willing to pay the non-disclosure agreement, so he didn't have to go ahead and print the column, kind of blasting Trump. He could hide that information. David Pecker is his name. So Cohen said, and I quote, "It was so I could show," talking about secretly recording the president, which I don't think is illegal, but unethical. Certainly, you're supposed to, in New York, you're supposed to have a good reason to record a second person, I believe, in New York. This wasn't one of them. But this is what Cohen said. It was so I could show it to David Pecker, and that way he would hear the conversation, that he would know that we're going to be paid. Mr. Trump is going to be paying him back. I also wanted him to remain loyal to Mr. Trump. Now, Bragg's case centered on the payment scheme, which he claims includes an illegal effort by Trump to falsify business records in order to conceal unlawful activity. Guys, I don't focus on this stuff a lot like a lot of other conservative talk shows. Some conservative talk shows, I feel like all they talk about is the Trump case, the Trump case, the Trump case. But listen, I'm not minimizing it either. This is one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to voting in November. I do not want a corrupt deep state. I do not want a fourth branch of government. That is not what our Constitution calls for. And we have to start chopping this stuff back. The third thing, Cohen admitted payment to Stormy Daniels was a legal contract. In other words, it was a non-disclosure agreement. There was no shady business going on. He, in fact, is the one that did the deal. Cohen admitted that the payment to Stormy Daniels, that has been characterized as hush money, was an official, legally binding contract. Make no mistake, this was a completely legal binding contract. This is what Trump lawyers Todd Blanche asked, and Cohen said, "Yes, sir." Where's the crime? Where's the crime? And then Cohen admitted in old legal memos he had nothing on Trump. Remember, it was Robert Costello who was initially the former lawyer for Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen basically gave the guy permission. These are some of the reasons I'm thinking, was Michael Cohen in a weird kind of way trying to get back in Trump's good graces, or at least trying to show him, the left is using me, but I'm also trying to clear a pathway for you to be found innocent. It's just kind of weird. The stuff that he admitted to, the stealing the money, like all of this stuff wasn't mentioned by the prosecution, right? The prosecution wanted to hide this. It's kind of weird. Really is weird. All right, before I close out, don't forget MyPillow.com has a $25 extravaganza. All right, so all you have to do to go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. All right, C-A-R-L, to get these available deals for just $25. They've got the My Pillow with the Giza fabric for $25. They got the My Pillow sandals for $25. They got dish towel set for $25, body towel set for $25, $25 blowout. Go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. Again, that number, 800-858-0263. is a number to call them to take advantage of all of these deals. All right, so just real quickly, some headlines that I'd like to bring to your attention that have hit today. Man, this ICC court, I may be doing a separate podcast because actually I will be doing a separate podcast. So look forward to that. If we don't do it tonight, we'll drop it tomorrow. But I want to talk about all the ways in which Biden is ushering the U.S. closer and closer to war. And part of it has to do with this. Part of it has to do with this ICC stuff, where this international criminal courts are literally. The international criminal courts are going after Netanyahu and Gallant of Israel, leaders of Israel. Israel has now pulled their U.S. ambassadors out of some European nations. It's absolutely insane. But let me share with you, Wisconsin. I mean, even though this is just a Bloomberg swing state poll, but Biden was leading in Wisconsin. It appears that Trump is now leading. If I get this correct. Yeah, it at least, listen, these are battleground states. I don't know if these polls will last, so don't count on them. You got to make sure you get out there. That just gives you reason to, the tide seems to be turning. But anyway, it looks like he, at least polling wise, now polls don't necessarily relate to votes or turn into votes. So make sure you get out and vote. But Biden is his polling just isn't great. So here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to buy more votes. So Biden is going to release 1 million barrels of oil from the reserve to ease gas prices, just like they did in 2022. But make no mistake about it, this is simply because he wants to win the election. World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab to step down at 86. I'll talk about that, I think, tomorrow or within the next couple of days, because I got some other things that I would have mentioned, including our power grid that is in dire straits here in the United States of America. Germany's parliament decriminalizes possession of child pornography. Don't take your kids to Germany. All right. There's going to be a lot of human trafficking going on. What the heck is happening to this world? Absolutely insane. South Carolina moves to protect young people from gender surgery. There's a win. I don't know why it took so long, but I'm glad they've done it. All right. So praise God for that. New York Times suggests political violence stems from the GOP. Of course, New York Times would, even though Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all of these anti-Jew protesters, pro-Hamas protesters on college campuses vote Democrat. Another headline, defense arrest case in Donald Trump. We just talked about that. Also, Attorney General Merrick Garland authorized use of deadly force during FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago. That's why we need to win. They authorized deadly force during FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago. that they authorize deadly force for Joe Biden? For anyone? This is insane. It's insane. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Guys, listen, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. I actually have to go to Salem News Channel to tape a TV show. Otherwise, I literally have 2 more podcasts I can do right now. So we're going to do those later, and we're going to put them up for you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Follow me on all things social media. All right, at The Carl Jackson Show, X, Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Getter, wherever we are on social media, at The Carl Jackson Show or at Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find us. Until next time, guys, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.